This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. I am Abigail Okwande, and this is Africa Now. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations has urged Russia to immediately stop the violence by mercenaries working as an arm of Russia's Ministry of Defense in the Central African Republic and hold those responsible accountable. Russia, which has hundreds of military instructors in the diamond-rich country of 4.7 million people, is accused by the UN sanctions monitors of targeting civilians with excessive force, indiscriminate killings, occupation of schools, and large-scale looting. Russian U.S. Ambassador Vasily Nebenzia told reporters on Wednesday that the report was full of ungrounded accusations. Meanwhile, Central African Republic authorities on Wednesday rejected a UN expert report that alleges that members of FARC and Russian instructors dispatched to the country were guilty of abuses that violated the international humanitarian law and supporting them against rebels trying to overthrow President Faustin Archange Touadera. The Minister of National Defense Bureau says it is a clear desire to tarnish by all means the image of their military institution while it continues to make enormous sacrifices to restore the authority of the state throughout the territory. A presidential decree on Wednesday says Burkina Faso's President Roch Kabore has taken over the role of defense minister in a cabinet reshuffle aimed at stopping a wave of jihadist attacks that has plagued the West African country in recent years. More than 130 people have been killed in regular attacks on civilians by groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Kabore will oversee the defense ministry with the help from Colonel Major Aimé Simpore, the presidential decree states. And in politics, Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune has appointed Finance Minister Amnen as the Prime Minister of the country. A statement of the President's office says the 60-year-old is to replace Abdelaziz Gerard, who resigned last week following a parliamentary election on June 12. He is tasked with the duty of carrying on consultations with political parties and civil society to form a government as soon as possible as the country seeks to curb a deep socio-economic crisis. Pro-democracy protesters in Eswatini have defied an overnight curfew to call for constitutional reforms as tensions increase in Africa's last absolute monarchy. The protesters in the tiny and landlocked kingdom defied an overnight curfew on Wednesday to call for constitutional reforms as tensions increase. Internet connections across the kingdom have been shut. This is your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. You are watching Africa Now. We move to business after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. In business. From Thursday, Ugandan's internet users will start paying the 12% excise duty on mobile data. The levy, which was introduced earlier this year through an amendment by Parliament, replaces the infamous social media tax and over-the-top services daily tax introduced in 2018 on use of social media. Taxing of internet use continues to cause public outcry in Uganda, especially among young people who are increasingly using the internet to start small businesses. Hundreds of people in Sudan took to the streets on Wednesday in several cities to demand the resignation of the government over the austerity measures put in place as part of reforms supported by the International Monetary Fund. The protest erupted less than 24 hours after the IMF announced the approval of a $2.5 billion loan and debt relief deal that will see Sudan's external debt reduced by some $50 billion. The government has vowed to fix the country's economy, battered by decades of mismanagement, internal conflict, and international sanctions under Omar al-Bashir, the former autocratic leader ousted in April of 2019. Angola has accumulated around $1 billion in debt to Western oil companies operating in its oil fields. The magnitude of the debt built up over several years is a sign of deepening financial woes as the state oil giant Senegal, one of Africa's largest companies, due to the underinvestment in declining offshore fields that worsened during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now to South Africa. The round firmed on Wednesday after data showed the country recorded larger than expected trade surplus for the month of May. At 15:00 GMT, the rand traded at 14.2666 against the dollar, 0.55% stronger than its previous close. After rising by more than a percentage on Tuesday, stocks pared half of the gains on Wednesday, with the benchmark all-share index closing down 0.45% to 66,249 points. For the rehabilitation of Machimpanda Railway, which runs between Mozambique and Port of Beira on the border with Zimbabwe, the African Development Bank on Tuesday announced that it has granted $665,000 to support the project. The grant, which comes from NEPAD Infrastructure Project Preparation Facility Special Fund, will fund the environmental and social impact assessment studies to ensure that the project takes into consideration resilience and sustainability. The rail restoration, which began in 2019, will be completed next year at a total cost of around $150 million. And that is Africa Now. For more updates, to visit our website at www.TOS TVNetwork.com. Follow us and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. To stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. I am Abigail Okwade. Thanks for watching.